Welcome back, NFL 5 fans. Joseph Ramirez here again, um, bringing you another deck tech profile. Um, this one, one of the fairly new ideas that I had going out of 2020. Just throwing out ideas to have fun with. Obviously, from the previous video, the Andrew Luck deck, I did have a Dak Prescott, Ben Roethlisberger deck that was essentially Dak Prescott said a short or medium pass. If it's incomplete, you gain 10 yards. And then Ben Roethlisberger was if you long pass, incomplete, gain 15 yards. So it was essentially those two plus Saquon Barkley and Micole Hardman. And then Justin Tucker on the bench. And essentially, what you did was you would first two downs, you gain 10 or 15 with Roethlisberger or Dak. You use both of them. And then your objective was third down, fourth down, you go to try and get a first down with McCole Hardman or Saquon Barkley. Just because then you can untap all of your guys, energize all of your guys, and then do it again, and then just continue to chunk in yards and get in there, and just keep abusing the incomplete pass. Still get yardage off of it. So basically, almost like a a holding call. Basically, you get 10, you get 15 yards, things like that. So definitely, an idea that was initially played. And then it just evolved into this particular deck, and this particular deck took over that idea. And it was much more efficient, and I liked it as far as the playability and the fun factor was definitely much more there. So I decided to go with this one. So let me show you the idea behind the deck. Essentially, what we have here is Mr. McCole Hardman. So this guy, and there's a new card that was spoiled that is a receiver that says on a 0-2 receive at the end of the play, it becomes first down and energizes all players on the field. So McCole says 0-1. So he's only got a short window. Getting that extra one is pretty big. So, maybe I'll run both. Maybe I'll just run him instead of McCole. But the idea of the deck is to always try and get as many first down ball control as possible. If you guys don't remember, you can go back. I don't know if I even had a deck profile on it, but I had a Saquon Barkley Lamar Jackson deck that was a ball control. Basically, clock control management was the very first deck I ever built of NFL 5, at the end of 2019 into 2020. And essentially, 2019 deck was, I'm going to burn as much time off the clock as possible. So what I wanted to do was play Saquon Barkley and Lamar Jackson to open up the hole. That way I could use Saquon Barkley to get a first down, untap everything, do it again, keep control of the ball. Even if I didn't gain yards, I wanted to control the ball. And the reason for that is obviously this game is measured by time units, not essentially time or, so you get 15 ticks on the clock. And so if you are taking up, 10 of those 15 ticks, they only get 5 ticks, which is essentially 5 plays. So, excuse me. Oh, so, basically what you were, trying to do was just control the clock. And then on defense, I had a couple of guys that no one ever thought of using or ever saw using, and really thought that the idea is something that you want to do in this type of game. But basically, on a run or a pass, It was they tackled on a runner pass and they would remove an additional time unit. So when offense did get the ball, you were pushing time off the clock whenever they did a run or a pass, so that you could essentially make it so that, okay, your time is ticking away, so there's less time on the clock. So if you could get up and score and get ahead, you basically just kind of burn it. It was clock control. I was a very big clock control guy, very even like for games like Madden and things like that. I was very, even as a coaching scheme, my idea was to clock manage, clock control, run the ball, grind out old school, hard-nosed football, and just play strong defense and run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. And you just kind of change the tempo of the game, and that's really what that deck was for. Now, this is a little different take. Micole Hardman, of course, you want to get first down. You want to keep re-abusing your stuff, and this is how you do it. You just keep going with this guy right here. And to make it happen, to facilitate this guy, you go with 2020's Patrick Mahomes. Exhaust, pass. If your play was stopped, ignore the defensive play card unless all passes is present. Exhaust only during on-field adjustments. So eventually, both, Kansas City Chiefs here, they know they go hand in hand. But your idea is to make sure that you're getting this ability. So you're going to start passing a lot. And eventually your opponent's going to know how well it's going to go pass. And so if you get stopped, you can do this to ignore it. Now, initially, when I first read this, I thought that it was you just ignore it just blanks the card, right? So whatever you picked is what happens. I did not know until I asked Brian that the play strength also still checks. So if they have a play strength of 5, it's still a 5, whether this just blanks the text of what it was. So it stops short, medium, or long pass, just stops it, but does not stop the strength. So I just thought it ignored initially altogether. So you'll see why I kind of built the deck the way I did. It still functions the way I want it to. It's just a little bit more work than normal. So you play these, and of course, to get more instances, you play Russell Wilson, because in this particular type of combo, you want these two guys to be ready just in case. Not so much Patrick, because you'll see after a while, the opponent doesn't want to pick the exact same play to do the trigger. You'd most rather get this guy sideways. But I felt in a lot of play testing that I didn't mind throwing it to Hardman, let him tap, and then ready during the play I needed it, and then just go in with McCole, because then it was like it's a first down, so then I can untap. So it wasn't terrible. So very, very nice. We saw in a previous video, Mark Ingram and the combos that you do with him, gain an additional 5 and then bring a guy in. So I like this idea initially, was to bring him in, and then I would bring in Mark Andrews, also Baltimore Raven. So tight end, exhaust in a short or long pass, gain an additional 10 yards. If the pass was received by another player, exhaust during player designation. Well, obviously, we're going to Micole Hardman, so Andrews is going to be there, right? The idea ended up being so good when in playtesting that I did not need Mark Ingram. You could probably drop him for Justin Tucker if you wanted to, make your field goals more accurate to this kind of play style. And the reason I say that is the play deck was initially designed with Hardman in mind. I run 2 specific plays in this particular deck. I run short pass 0 through 9 for 20 yards on a 0. And I run short pass 20 yards 0 through 9 on a 1. So as you can see, 1 and 0, it was to basically hit Micole Hardman every time, because I thought that if you ignored their play call, it didn't read the strength. And so if I picked this, it guaranteed Micole, which wasn't the case. However, it really doesn't matter. On 4 downs, your opponent is going to give you a 1-0. This then now says I can change up the play deck a lot more. That was the idea I was throwing around to see if that worked, but because it works a different way, I can actually change this up now, which frees up a lot of space. But because the deck was built that way, I can block medium passes and I can block run left, run right. Okay. So that's the defensive scheme, like period, throughout the whole deck. So I usually don't like to have my decks not be balanced on defense. Want to make sure that I have a good balanced breed, because then you're more able to stop the specific play calls. But because of all this, because of the interaction that I had this here, not knowing that that didn't work properly, it made me build the deck this way, to kind of focus here. But then it also helped me on defense to build a deck focused around run left, run right, and medium pass. So I'll show that. I'll talk to that about that in a second. Now, this was the end result outcome of this. If I short passed and I hit, I could go exhaust for an extra 10, play this 30 yards short pass, gain first down, we untap. Now, if they pick the same play and it's short pass, I ignore your short pass, I gain the reception, and I gain additional 10. So now it's a 30-yard short pass and everybody goes ready again. So really cool idea. Still works. Not exactly as intended that I wanted with the strength. However, going all short passes is still possible. It helps me free up the defense a little bit more, because now I can balance out the defense with different schemes as far as the strengths. And it helps me open up the strengths a little bit more when I go to building the deck again, or modifying this a little bit. And with 2020, I've seen some upgrades and some spice that could be running here. Of course, obviously, 0 to 2 is going to be better. So replacing Hardman is going to be one of the things. Now I'll go in real quick and talk about the defense before I get into action cards and things like that, since we've already got into it, which is really, really cool. Obviously, Melvin Ingram, he's kind of a staple. To be able to untap 2 of your guys, just very strong, kind of hard to get away from that, period. But what's cool is most of these guys have not even seen play, and they are all foil. Have a full foil defense. I have a foil Melvin Ingram too. But Justin Houston, I talked about him in the previous video. Justin Houston, exhaust your opponent, and you flip over the top card of play deck instead of drawing plays for the down. It becomes the play. So this is very obviously. I know that I only have medium pass and run left, run right. So instead of once my opponent starts getting wind of these, let me check your discard pile. This is the only plays you've been playing, and I've noticed this is the only plays that you've been playing. I'm gonna start picking things that long pass, or I'm gonna play short pass, or I'm gonna go run middle, because you can't stop those. Or I'm gonna notice that you're only doing 0s and 1s. So if I do like 8s and 7s, I'm getting huge yardage on offense. So then this prevents that to just be like, all right, I'm going to force us to not pick. We're just going to go off the top and see what happens. So very, very cool. Other things that are pretty cool is the way that I laid out the defense. Darius Leonard, I talked about 2020 Darius Leonard like being the most busted defensive player currently in the game. Well, with the rules changes, he'll be the most busted. But Darius Leonard 2019, exhaust, your opponent's run middle becomes run right instead. Exhaust only during on-field adjustments. So I'll explain. You can kind of see the trend here. Kendall Fuller, Kansas City Chief, exhaust, your opponent's run middle becomes a run left instead. Exhaust during on-field adjustments. So because my play cards, a good majority of my play cards have run left, run right, these 2 guys say, if they run middle, I'm going to force them to the other side. And either side that I have. So if we go, here's my play, here's your play, and you run middle, during on-field adjustments, I say, all right, I'm going to exhaust Kendall Fuller. It's now run left. I already blocked run left. This play is no longer successful. And after on-field adjustments, you would gain 0 yards. And the play would be automatically stopped. So it helped in those instances where like I have the defense that I need, So if you decide to go run middle, I'm going to be able to stop that. Um, and so that was pretty cool. My last player, I looked for the exact same thing on defense when I was looking at it because like, well, these are my only defenses. What do I do? Well, check out Dante Johnson from Carolina, cornerback. Exhaust. Your opponent's short pass is a medium pass instead. Exhaust only during on-field adjustments. So when they go short pass, obviously, you know, I have medium pass for defense. If I play this down and they go short pass, I can exhaust, make it a medium pass, and then it's auto stopped. So that was the idea. It was kind of cool. It's not very strong in defense, but definitely outside the box thinking. And for me to have all foils of the guys was really cool. So I thought that was a neat idea. And so obviously I can change it up now with the defense, you know, defensive play cards that I could change. So it'll be interesting to see how this evolves going into 2020, especially with all the new additions and things you'll be able to get. So it'll be pretty cool. So if you want to play it, try it out for fun, throw your own spice on it, your own spin, definitely feel free to do so. Just give you kind of some ideas of you know, deck building and some outside the box thinking that you can kind of throw in there to see. As far as the actions, pretty standard stuff. Juke, everyone knows that I really fell in love with Juke. You know, player designation gain an extra 10. So my 30-yard short pass is becoming 40. Just pretty good stuff. Basic Instinct, I was very against this card because you don't get to draw another card. Pretty soon in the rules change, this card's going to get really, really good. And so that stuff won't matter. So definitely would like to run it. Out of position, because of things like cancel the receive abilities of like, you know, McCole Hardman, things like that. You'd want to run out of position just to turn those off. That way, because you need your first downs to happen. And if they don't happen, then you get kind of screwed. So you want definitely run two of those. Reload, in case you need to reset a particular deck, whether it's your play deck or your action deck or your opponent's. I think I really, really liked this card. I liked it as a one of, and you know, because of Basic Instinct being more prevalent, Reload is something that is a very, very strong deck. A lot of recursion now. There's a lot of more cards that actually say pick something up from your discard pile, put it back into your hand. I think we saw like Josh Allen from the preview said, you know, you can add a non-play card from the discard pile to your hand. So you could pick up a bunch of different things. And so he can activate, then you can activate Reload to shuffle it up, and then he gets to add nothing to his hand. So this is very, very, very good techie card. Exhaust, we know Darius Leonard's a guy, got to shut him up. So that's it. Energize, just in case your key piece gets put down like McCole Hardman or whatever, you can just energize them. Obviously not this Sunday. It's a staple card. In most competitive decks, you're going to see not this Sunday. In the Andrew Luck deck, it wasn't in there. And it's definitely something that I would definitely recommend you go back and add. Just because if you have access to it, you should be playing it. Especially now that there's so much more things that, you know, this will be able to close out on. Again, the new card, the Force Audible card, I think is a huge thing. And if they try and Force Audible you cannot this Sunday to make sure that your plays go off. It's very, very important that you do that. And because there's only two not this Sunday and you want to run Basic Instincts, obviously Reload. Obviously they all go hand in hand. Locked In. I played Locked In because I was like, I really want to make sure that like Patrick Mahomes, I can use multiple instances of him or multiple instances of Russell Wilson. But honestly, this card it could be replaced as something else. Wasn't something that I saw. I was like, oh man, like I really need to see that card. Didn't really care for it, so a whole lot. And then of course, outperform and outwork. Um, at this point, guys, if you don't have outwork, outperform staples, they are very highly needed, very highly recommended in every single deck because they are just so good at making sure that you get there and you play strength. So, um, but that's the idea. Hope I had a lot of fun with it. Hope you have a lot of fun with it. Hope you're able to kind of go through and tweak it, make it your own. Take a look at some of these 2020 ideas that get added to it that can help push it over the edge. So it'll be definitely nice to see that as well. But definitely in the next video, I will definitely make sure that we are doing basically a 2020 preview idea for a deck list. And it's kind of wishy-washy because obviously the whole set isn't out. So it's just kind of things that we've already seen. I don't really like to say, okay, this is the deck, because it can definitely be madly tweaked at that point. We haven't seen all the cards, so we're just kind of going off of here's what we have so far. And so take it with a grain of salt, but definitely look out for that because it's definitely a cool idea. I just really noticed something about the deck, and I'll explain during that deck tech video where you could possibly see the deck going. So very, very cool. During that video, I can't wait to see you guys there. Can't wait to see some of the next previews. And don't forget about the box opening up, coming up pretty soon. I believe that is next Monday. Check the Discord channel, check the Panini Games website for that. That way you can join us and see all the new cards that are coming out, new packs opening up, new foiling. Until next time, guys, have a great one.